Hunter pushes open the door behind us and walks in. Indy is with him. "We don't have time for this," he says. "There is a rising. You can find it by following that map. Can you read the code?" I nod. "And then the map is yours for telling me what was in the cave." "Thank you," I say. I roll it up carefully. The map is made of thick cloth and dark paints. You could use it in the rain and drop it in water and it would last. But it can't hold up against fire. I look over at Kai, my heart aching, wishing we could bridge the river of what just happened as neatly as one could mark a crossing on a map. "I'm leaving for the mountains to find the others," Hunter says. "Those of you who don't want to join the Rising can come with me." "I want to find the Rising," Andy says. "We can all go as far as the plane together, at least," I say. "We can't come such a long way only to break apart so quickly." "You should all start now," Hunter says. "I'll catch up to you when I'm finished blocking the cave." "Blocking the cave?" Andy asks. "We made a plan to seal off the cave and make it look like a landslide," Hunter says. "We don't want society to get our papers. I promised the other farmers I'd do it, but it will take some time to prepare everything. You shouldn't wait." "No," I say. "We can wait. We can't leave Hunter behind again, and though I know our small, fragmented little group that has somehow come together must splinter eventually, I don't want it to happen now." "So that's why you'd save some of the explosives," Kai says to Hunter. I can't read Kai's expression. His face is closed off, remote. This is the Kai of society again, and I feel a sudden ache of loss at the Kai of the carving. I can help you." "You can wire?" Hunter says. "Yes," Kai says. "In exchange for something I saw in one of the caves. A trade," Hunter agrees. "What is Kai trading for? What does he want?" Why won't he look at me? But no one argues anymore about splitting apart. We stay together, for now. While Kai and Hunter gather the wires, Indy and I hurry back to the cave to wake Eli and fill our packs with things we need for the journey. We are ready the cave for explosion by sealing the lid of the boxes in the library and stacking them back against the wall so they be protected. For some reason, I'm drawn to the pages that come loose from one of the books. I can't resist. I put some of the papers in my pack along with food, water, and matches. Hunter showed us where we could find headlamps and other gear for the journey and gave us extra packs. We filled them too. Eli tucks paintbrushes and papers in alongside his food. We don't have the heart to tell him to throw them out and take more apples instead. "I think we're ready," I say. "Wait," Indy says. "We haven't spoken much and I've been glad. I'm not sure what to say to her. I don't understand her. Why did she take the map to Kai first? What else has she been hiding? Does she even think we are friends?" "I have to give you something." Indy reaches into her pack and takes out a delicate wasp nest. "Even after everything, this is miraculously intact." She holds it carefully in her hands. An image comes to mind of her lifting a shell from the edge of the ocean. "No," I say, touched. "You should keep it. You're the one who brought it all this way." "That's not what I mean," Indy says, impatient. She reaches into the wasp nest and pulls something out, a microcard. It takes me a moment to understand. "You stole this from me?" I whisper. In the warp camp?" Indy nods. "It's what I hid on the airship," she pretended later that I hadn't hidden anything, but I did. This. She holds it out, take it. I do. "And I took this from someone in the village." She reaches into her pack again and pulls out a mini port. "Now you can view the microcard," she says. "The only thing you're missing now is one of the scraps. But that's your own fault. You dropped it yourself when we were walking to the plane." Bewildered, I take the mini port too. "You found one of the papers?" I asked. "Did you read it?" Of course she did. She doesn't even bother to answer the question. "That's how I knew that Alexander had a secret," Indy says. "The scrap said he had one and he'd tell you when he saw you again." "Where is it?" I asked Indy. "Give it back." "I can't. It's gone now. I gave it to Kai and he didn't keep it." Why? I hold up the the microcard. Why all this? First of all, I think Indy won't say anything. She turns her face away. But then she looks back and answers after all. Her expression is fierce. Her muscles tense. You didn't belong, she says. I knew it the minute I saw you at the work camp. So I wanted to see who you were. What you were doing. At first I thought you might be a spy for the society. Later I thought you might be working for the Rising. And you had all those blue tablets. I wasn't sure what you planned with them. So you stole from me, I say. Every step of the way, from the work camp into the carving. How else was I supposed to find out anything? She gestures to the mini port. And you have it all back now, better even. Now you can look at the microcard whenever you want. I don't have anything, I say. Remember, part of Xander's message is gone. No, it's not, Indy says. I just told it to you. I want to scream in frustration. What about the silver box? I ask. You took that too? It's not rational, but suddenly I want it back. The memento of Xander. I want back everything that I had ever lost, whether it had been stolen, traded, or taken. Kai's compass, Bram's watch, and most of all the compact from grandfather and the poems snapped safely inside. If I had it back, I'd never open it again. It would be enough to know that the poems were there. I wish for the same thing with Kai, that I could tuck everything beautiful about our relationship inside and seal it up safe, shutting out all the mistakes we both made. I left the box back at the work camp when I ran, Indy says. I dropped it in the forest. I remember how Indy always wanted to see the painting, how she threw it away in when it disintegrated. I could tell that she cared, how she stood in the painted cave staring at the girls in the dresses. And he stole from me because she wanted what I had. I look at her and I think that it's like looking at a reflection in Ripple Place in the river. The image is not quite exact, it's distorted, churning, but so much is the same. She rebelled with the streak for safety and I'm the opposite. How did you hide the microcard, I ask. They didn't search me when they found me, Indy says. Only on the airship, and I figured out a way around that. She pushes her hair back from her face and gestures that it is perfectly Indy, abrupt but with the element of gracefulness about it somehow. I never met anyone so direct and unashamed about trying to get what she wanted. Are you going to look? She asks. I can't help myself. I slide Xander's microcard into the mini port and wait for his face to come up. I should have seen the information back in my home in the burrow with the maple leaves rustling outside. Bram could have teased me and my parents could have smiled. I could have looked at Xander's face and seen nothing else. But Kai's face came up. Everything changed. There he is, and he says, almost involuntarily, Xander. I'd forgotten how he looked, even though it's only been days since I've seen him. But it all came back to me. And then the list of attributes began to come up on the screen. The list on the microcard is exactly the same as the one he concealed in the tablets. It's what Xander wanted to see. Look at me, he seems to say, as many times as it takes. I don't know how he added the extra line on the scrap Indy found. Could she be lying? I don't think so. And I wonder why he didn't just tell me his secret the day when we visited the archivist. I thought we might not see each other again. Did he think differently? But he didn't mean for someone else to read all about him. I click back through the records. The marker card was only viewed last night. It was viewed the night before, the night before, the night before. Indy's been looking at this all along. When? While I was sleeping? Do you know Xander's secret? I ask her. I think so, she says. Tell me then, I say. It's his secret to tell, she says, echoing Kai. Her voice sounds unrepented in a way. But I know something, a softening around her eyes as she looks at the picture on the screen. And then I see, it's not Kai she loves after all. You're in love with Xander, I say, my voice too hard, too cruel. And he doesn't deny it. Alexander is a kind person, and aberration can never have a golden boy, a close to perfect as they come in society. He's not her match, though. He's mine. With Alexander, I could have a family, a good job, be loved, be happy, live in the borough, with clean streets and neat lives. With Alexander, I would be able to do the things I always thought I would. But with Kai, I do things I never thought I could. I want both. But that's impossible. I look at Alexander's face, and though he seems to tell me he won't change, I know he will. I know there is part of him I don't know. Things happening in Camus I don't see. Secrets of his that I haven't learned, and he will have to tell me himself. He makes mistakes too. Like giving me the blue tablets, a gift that I was given with great risks and care, but was not what he thought it would be. He didn't save me. Being with Alexander might be less complicated, but it would still be love. And I found that love brings you to new places. What did you want with Kai? I asked Indy. What were you trying to do when you showed him the scrap and gave him the map? I could tell he knew more about the Rising than he says. Indy says, I wanted to make him tell me what it was. Why did you give this back to me? I hold out the microcard now. Why now? You need to choose, Indy says. I don't think you see either of them clearly. And you do? I say, anger welling up in me. She doesn't know Kai. Not like I do. She has never even met Alexander. I figured out Alexander's secret, and he moves towards the entrance of the cave. And it's never occurred to you that Kai might be the pilot. She disappears through the door. Someone touches my arm. Eli, his eyes widen with worry, and it shakes me out of my trance. We have to get Eli out of here. We have to hurry. This can all be sorted later. I'm chucking the microcard into my pack when I see there among the blue, my red tablet. Indy and Kai and Alexander are immune, but I don't know what I am. I hesitate. I put the red in my mouth, and I won't wait for it to dissolve. I want to bite down hard, maybe even hard enough for my blood to mix with the red. It would truly be my choice, not society's. If the tablet works, I will forget everything that happened in the last 12 hours. I won't remember what happened with Kai. I won't have to forgive him for lying to me because I won't know that he had. I won't remember what he said about me sorting him. If it doesn't work, I'll finally know, once and for all, if I'm immune, if I'm special like Kai and Alexander and Indy. I lift the tablet to my mouth, and then I hear a voice from the place deep in my memory. You are strong enough to go without it. Fine, grandfather, I think to myself. I'll be strong enough to go without the tablet. But there are other things I'm not strong enough to go without, and I intend to fight for them.